The divine messenger. The golden light came first, a pulse that rippled across the sky above Paris, like someone had tossed a stone into the atmosphere. Dr. Maya Keller paused mid-sip of her morning espresso at the outdoor cafe, watching the ripples spread across the perfect blue morning. Her phone buzzed almost immediately, but she ignored it, transfixed as the air seemed to split open. Through this cosmic tear emerged something impossible, a vessel of such size it defied comprehension, shaped like an elongated diamond with spires that twisted into dimensions that hurt to look at directly. Its surface shimmered with colors that had no names in human languages. "Mon Dieu," whispered the waiter who had stopped beside her table, coffee pot trembling in his hand. Maya's phone wouldn't stop vibrating now. As the leading astrobiologist at the International Space Coalition, she knew exactly why her colleagues were frantically trying to reach her. First contact. After decades of searching the skies, they had arrived, but they hadn't announced themselves with radio signals or distant probes. They had simply appeared. Within hours, Paris was in chaos. Military jets circled uselessly around the vessel, which hovered silently a kilometer above the Eiffel Tower, larger than the city itself. Maya had been whisked to a hastily established command center beneath the Louvre, where representatives from every major world government argued over scratchy video links. "We need to establish defensive positions," insisted the American general, his face red with stress. "Weapons would be seen as aggression," countered the Chinese diplomat. "We cannot risk." They all fell silent as every screen in the room flickered simultaneously, replacing the video feeds with a single image, a humanoid figure whose features constantly shifted between male, female, and something else entirely. When it spoke, the words formed directly in their minds rather than through the speakers. "People of Earth, we are the luminary. We have watched your development for millennia. The time of revelation has come." The being's voice was like music and mathematics intertwined, somehow perfectly comprehensible despite its alien cadence. "Dr. Maya Keller," the being continued, causing Maya to gasp as all eyes turned to her. "You have asked the right questions about life's origins. Come to us, and we will answer." A beam of light burst through the ceiling, enveloping Maya before anyone could react. She felt herself dissolving, not painfully, but as if every atom of her body was being carefully cataloged and reconstructed. When the sensation passed, she stood in a vast chamber that seemed both organic and mechanical, with walls that pulsed with inner light. Before her stood the being from the screens, now solid yet still shifting subtly, as if human perception couldn't quite pin down its true form. "I am Aravax, emissary of the Luminary Collective," it said, extending what appeared to be a hand with too many joints. "Forgive our directness, but events are accelerating." "What events?" Maya found her voice, professional curiosity overriding her fear. "Why have you come to Earth?" Aravax's features settled briefly into something almost human, a face of indeterminate gender with eyes like galaxies. "Your species carries a genetic legacy left by our ancestors, a potential that has remained dormant, but is now crucial to the survival of sentient life throughout the cosmos." The wall beside them transformed into a display of DNA strands that Maya recognized as human, but with portions highlighted in pulsing light. "What others call junk DNA is actually a complex code," Aravax explained. "Sealed within your genetic makeup are abilities that were seeded in your earliest ancestors, abilities that could help us face a threat that consumes entire star systems." Maya's scientific mind raced. "Are you saying humans were engineered?" "Guided, not created," Aravax corrected. "Your evolution was natural, but at key junctures, subtle influences were introduced. You are still fully human, but with untapped potential greater than you know." Before Maya could process this revelation, a section of the chamber dissolved, revealing the Earth below. Multiple beams of light now connected the ship to different locations around the globe. "Others are joining us," Aravax explained as figures began materializing in the chamber. 5 more humans appeared. A quantum physicist from Japan named Hiroshi Tanaka, a young mathematical prodigy from Kenya named Amara Okafor, a former Special Forces operative from Russia named Alexei Volkov, a linguist and anthropologist from Brazil named Isabella Santos, and a teenage programming genius from Australia named Jake Wilson. Each looked as disoriented as Maya felt, but also shared the same expression of wonder. They had all been chosen, but none of them understood why. "The 6 of you represent different aspects of human potential," Aravax explained. "Together, you will be the first to undergo the awakening process. On Earth below, governments were thrown into turmoil. Emergency sessions of the United Nations Security Council devolved into shouting matches. Religious leaders proclaimed either the end times or divine salvation. Conspiracy theorists found their wildest ideas validated overnight. Markets crashed, then surged as companies with any connection to space technology saw their values skyrocket. President Helen Garcia of the United States addressed her nation with carefully measured words. "We face an unprecedented moment in human history. While we do not yet know the intentions of our visitors, we urge calm and unity. This is not a time for panic or division." But division came swiftly. Some nations launched missiles at the ship, which simply disappeared into non-space before reappearing unharmed. Others proclaimed the visitors as gods and established new cults overnight. Criminal organizations seized on the chaos to expand their territories, while doomsday preppers emerged from their bunkers, vindicated at last. Aboard the luminary vessel, Maya and her fellow chosen ones were oblivious to the chaos their disappearance had caused. They were being guided through sections of the ship that defied conventional physics, spaces that were simultaneously vast and intimate, where gravity shifted according to thought rather than physical law. "Your world stands at a crossroads," Aravax told them as they gathered in what appeared to be a control center, though without any recognizable controls. "A cosmic force we call the Void has been consuming life-sustaining systems across the galaxy. It is not a being but a phenomenon. Entropy accelerated to devastating levels." "Why us?" Alexei asked, his military training evident in his stance. "Surely your technology is thousands of years ahead of ours." Aravax's form rippled with what might have been sadness. "Technology alone cannot counter the Void. It requires a particular form of consciousness, a blend of intuition and reason that is uniquely human. Your species exists in a perfect balance between analytical thought and creative leaps. This duality is encoded in your modified DNA." Isabella, the anthropologist, stepped forward. "You keep saying modified DNA. Who did this modification?" "Your ancestors." "The precursors," Aravax confirmed. "A civilization that foresaw the coming of the Void millions of your years ago. They seeded potential throughout the galaxy, but humans developed the specific combination of traits they sought." Jake, the youngest among them, had been unusually quiet, but now he spoke. "So we're like, what, cosmic sleeper agents, born human but carrying alien software in our genes." "A crude but not inaccurate analogy," Aravax conceded. "The potential was always there, but it required activation at the right moment. This moment." Maya studied the others, seeing her own mix of excitement and apprehension reflected in their faces. "What exactly does this activation entail?" In answer, the chamber transformed around them. 6 transparent pods emerged from the floor, filled with a luminescent fluid that seemed to move with purpose. "The Genesis chambers will unlock what lies dormant within you," Aravax explained. "The process is not without risk, but success would mean abilities beyond current human comprehension." "And if we refuse?" Amara asked, her voice steady despite her youth. "Then we seek other candidates," Aravax replied simply. "We do not force this transformation, but know that without intervention, the Void will reach your solar system within one of your decades. No conventional defense will stop it." As they contemplated this choice, alarms suddenly blared throughout the ship. The walls around them pulsed red, and Aravax's form became more solid, more urgent. "We are under attack," the emissary announced. "Not from your world, but from those who oppose our mission." The chamber walls became transparent, revealing stars, and then another vessel, dark and angular where the luminary ship was bright and fluid. Energy weapons lanced between the ships, distorting space itself where they struck. The Shutdown Collective, Aravax explained. They believe the void is the natural end of all things and seek to hasten its progress. They have hunted us across the stars to prevent the awakening. A blast rocked the chamber, sending the humans sprawling. Emergency systems engaged, bathing them in protective fields as sections of the ship reconfigured to absorb the attack. We must accelerate our plans, Aravax announced, turning to the 6 humans. I cannot force your choice, but I must ask for it now. Will you undergo the awakening? Will you help us fight the void? Maya looked at her fellow humans. In their eyes, she saw fear and doubt, but also determination and curiosity, the hallmarks of humanity at its best. She thought of Earth below, billions of lives unaware that their fate hung in the balance of this moment. I'm in, she said, stepping toward one of the pods. One by one, the others joined her, Hiroshi with scientific precision, Amara with mathematical certainty, Alexei with soldier's resolve, Isabella with cultural insight, and Jake with youthful courage. As they each entered a Genesis chamber, the fluid enveloping them like a living cocoon, Maya felt her consciousness expanding. Her last coherent thought before the transformation began was simple but profound. Humanity had spent millennia looking to the stars for answers, never realizing they carried those answers within themselves all along. The awakening had begun. The cosmic awakening. Pain and light intertwined. Maya felt her body dissolving and reforming at the molecular level as the Genesis chamber's fluid permeated every cell. It was agony and ecstasy, death and rebirth compressed into an eternal moment. Through the translucent walls of her pod, she could see the others undergoing similar transformations. Hiroshi's body crackling with quantum energies, Amara floating in a cocoon of mathematical symbols made manifest, Alexei's form becoming dense and impenetrable, Isabella radiating waves of empathic connection, and Jake surrounded by streams of what looked like living code. Time lost meaning. It could have been minutes or days before the fluid drained and the pods opened, releasing 6 beings who were both familiar and profoundly changed. Maya stood on unsteady legs, feeling the ship around her not just with her 5 senses, but with a 6th, 7th, and 8th sense she had no names for. She could perceive the flow of energy through the vessel's systems, could feel the subtle gravitational pulls of celestial bodies millions of kilometers away. What happened to us? Jake's voice had changed, carrying harmonics that seemed to interface directly with the ship's systems as he spoke. Aravax approached, its form now fully comprehensible to their enhanced perception. The awakening has succeeded beyond our expectations. Your latent abilities have not just activated, they have evolved. Hiroshi examined his hand, watching as quantum possibilities flickered around his fingers. I can see probabilities, multiple timelines existing simultaneously. I understand the universe's underlying mathematics, Amara whispered, eyes wide as equations manifested in the air around her. Everything is numbers, patterns within patterns. Alexei's skin had taken on a metallic sheen. When he moved, space itself seemed to bend slightly around him. I feel indestructible, like I could walk through the heart of a star. Isabella reached out, touching each of them in turn. Your emotions, your memories, I can access them all. Not just human connections, but everything alive. I can feel the collective consciousness of life forms throughout the ship. Jake laughed, a sound that caused nearby systems to pulse in response. This is beyond coding. I'm not just interfacing with technology. I'm merging with it, becoming it. Maya realized her own transformation as she spoke. I can manipulate organic matter at the cellular level. I understand all biological processes instinctively, how to heal, how to adapt, how to evolve. Aravax's form rippled with what they now recognize as profound satisfaction. You have become more than we hoped. The precursor's genetic templates have manifested uniquely in each of you, responding to your individual natures. The ship shuddered around them. Another attack from the Shadow Collective. But this time, instead of feeling vulnerable, Maya and the others sensed opportunity. "Let us help," Alexei said, stepping forward. "We can defend the ship." Without waiting for permission, the 6 newly awakened humans moved in perfect synchronization. Jake merged his consciousness with the ship's defense systems, upgrading them in real time. Hiroshi predicted the enemy's attack patterns seconds before they occurred. Amara calculated shield configurations that maximized protection. Alexei channeled his indestructibility into the ship's hull. Isabella sensed the enemy commander's intentions, providing tactical insights, and Maya accelerated the ship's organic components, healing damage as it occurred. Within minutes, the Shadow Collective vessel retreated, its weapons ineffective against this unexpected defense. "Remarkable," Aravax observed. "You function as a single organism while maintaining your individuality. Exactly the paradox the precursors sought to achieve." In the days that followed, the 6 humans explored their new abilities, each discovery more astonishing than the last. They could communicate telepathically across vast distances. They could manipulate matter and energy with mere thought. They existed partially outside conventional time, perceiving past, present, and future as interrelated states rather than a linear progression. But with these godlike powers came profound questions. "What happens to our humanity?" Isabella asked during one of their rare moments of rest. "I can feel myself becoming something other, something beyond human. I still remember my mother's pasta recipe," Alexei replied with surprising gentleness. "I still miss Moscow in the spring. We carry our humanity with us, even as we transcend it." Maya agreed. "Our transformation doesn't erase who we were, it builds upon it. That's why humans were chosen. Our capacity for adaptation, for emotional connection, even as we evolve. That's what makes us unique." While they explored their new abilities, the luminary ship maintained its position above Earth. Governments had ceased their attacks, instead establishing diplomatic protocols and first contact procedures. Religious leaders debated whether to revise their doctrines. Scientists proposed new theories about human evolution and cosmic interconnectedness. And the Shadow Collective regrouped. Their second attack came without warning, not against the luminary ship, but against Earth itself. Dark energy weapons targeted major cities, causing localized distortions in reality that threatened to tear the planet apart from within. "They seek to destroy your homeworld before more humans can awaken," Aravax explained as alarms blared. "They know that once a critical mass of awakened humans exists, the void can be contained." Through the ship's sensors, the 6 watched in horror as temporal anomalies appeared over Beijing, New York, Lagos, and Sydney, black vortices that began consuming matter at an accelerating rate. "We have to stop them," Maya said, already moving toward the ship's transit system. "You are not yet fully stabilized," Aravax warned. "Using your abilities at such scale could lead to further mutation, perhaps beyond what even we can predict." Jake, the youngest but in many ways now the wisest, looked at his companions. "Humanity is worth the risk." They teleported to Earth's surface, each appearing at a different crisis point. The world watched in awe as 6 glowing figures materialized in the midst of chaos. Humans transformed into something godlike, yet unmistakably born of Earth. Maya appeared in Sydney, where the temporal vortex was consuming the harbor bridge. She reached out with her biological manipulation abilities, not just to living things, but to time itself, which she now understood as another form of organic growth. She slowed the vortex's expansion, then began reversing it, forcing the consumed matter to regenerate. Across the globe, her companions performed similar miracles. Hiroshi collapsed quantum possibilities in Beijing, forcing reality to stabilize along the most favorable timeline. Amara rewrote the mathematical constants within the Lagos anomaly, neutralizing its destructive properties. Alexei physically entered the New York vortex, his indestructible form disrupting it from within. Isabella connected their consciousnesses across continents, allowing them to coordinate their efforts while simultaneously calming the panic of millions through empathic broadcast. Jake interfaced with every electronic system on Earth, creating a global shield of information that prevented the Shadow Collective from opening new rifts. As the last anomaly closed, the six reunited aboard the luminary ship, exhausted but triumphant. But the victory had cost them. Each had pushed their abilities beyond sustainable limits. Maya's skin now rippled with biological alterations. Hiroshi partially existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Amara's thoughts manifested as physical equations that orbited her body. Alexi's human form had become increasingly abstract. Isabella could no longer fully separate her consciousness from others nearby. Jake existed as much as code as flesh. The transformation continues, Aravax observed with concern. You stand at a threshold. Continue evolving, and you may lose your connection to humanity entirely. Become cosmic beings beyond mortality, beyond the constraints of individual existence. Is that what the precursors intended? Maya asked, watching her hand cycle through evolutionary variations. No, Aravax admitted. The ideal state is balance. Power tempered by human perspective. The void thrives on detachment, on cosmic indifference. Your humanity, your capacity for empathy, for connection to a specific place and people, that is the weapon the precursors designed. The six considered their options. They could evolve further, becoming entities of pure energy and thought, capable of battling the void directly, but losing their human essence in the process. Or they could stabilize at their current level, immensely powerful, but still connected to their human origins. There's a third option, Jake said suddenly. We could share the awakening. Distribute it among all humans. Isabella continued, following his thought. Not to the same degree. That would be too dangerous. But enough that humanity collectively could stand against the void. A network of slightly awakened humans rather than a handful of gods. Hiroshi nodded. Quantum entanglement on a species-wide scale. Aravax hesitated. Such an approach was theorized but never attempted. The risk is less than the alternative, Alexei interrupted. One being with absolute power or a million with partial power. History favors the latter. And it preserves what makes us human, Amara added. Our individuality within community. Maya looked at Earth below, billions of lives unaware of the choice being made on their behalf. We need to give them the option, not decide for them. And so they returned to Earth once more, not as saviors from above, but as messengers. In a global broadcast transmitted simultaneously to every device on the planet, they explained humanity's hidden legacy and the choice now facing them. To awaken partially and join a cosmic community of sentient species, accepting both the responsibilities and dangers that came with it. The response was not universal agreement. Humans remained stubbornly individual in their choices, but a consensus emerged. Humanity would take its place among the stars, not as gods but as caretakers, their unique blend of rationality and emotion serving as a bulwark against cosmic entropy. The awakening process began slowly, village by village, city by city. Those who consented received a diluted version of the Genesis treatment, gaining minor abilities, enhanced intuition, limited telepathy, accelerated healing, while maintaining their essential humanity. Maya and her 5 companions served as guides, their own powers stabilizing as the burden of humanity's cosmic role became shared among millions. The Shadow Collective retreated before this unprecedented development, unable to counter a species evolving in real time along millions of parallel paths. 1 year after the luminary ship first appeared over Paris, a new era of human civilization had emerged. Earth joined an interstellar community of awakened species, contributing its unique perspective to the ongoing battle against the void. Humans ventured to the stars not as conquerors but as connectors, their innate talent for building bridges between disparate viewpoints proving as valuable as their newly awakened abilities. And Maya, standing on the observation deck of humanity's first true starship, watched Earth recede behind her. a blue jewel containing the most precious resource in the universe, the perfect balance between cosmic potential and human heart. The journey had only just begun.